I was told so many stories, and I kept them in my stomach. Lies of truth, fake smiles of blood money. I lost cause at a loss for words, trying to keep my tone down. What I'm saying's absurd, unusual, the context unique. Buried in the depths of metaphorical speech, a hidden message. Pull the infinite strings, reconnect the ends, and pretend to justify the means. Parallel, we're reading the same page. Turn days into literature, simple as loose change. It was perfect, or at least that's what I'm told. Courage is dead, spending my life fearing the cold. I was useless, feeling like dead weight, plain as day. Introducing when handshakes. Originality was spread across the board. Intricate self-worth, I'm searching for more. I swear rain doesn't fall on my fields. It takes a drought to avoid all the secrets that I concealed. Hidden within the dust covered land behind the city. The street lights are dim and the fog is always walking with me. It's nothing new, my eyes adjusted to the scene. Flickering on and off, it's just the daily routine. I grab a hold of time, forcing not to leave. The weeds grow sporadic and my home is where I'm quarantined. Thinking less, move the top to where the fuel rests. Giving all I got to breathe life to the common sense. Moving the top to where the fuel rests. Giving all I got to breathe life to your silhouette.
3, 2, 1. Okay, watch out. Right, welcome back. Now today the bodywork begins, as you can see on the board. Today I'm going to start getting this into some sort of paint so I can just bolt it on and move on to the exciting tail work. But I can't leave this not done correctly. I want to set up the right thing. Now my buddy Mac that's going to paint this for me is giving me basic instructions. He needs it in this silver effect, either a real silver, which I've used for the tanks so far. This is going to be a heat-proof product. I've got a silver manifold paint, so it's exactly the same colour, but it will just be heat-proof instead. Now, I want to just quickly address the issue of heat-proofness. Obviously, there's been a great deal of conversation about heat-proof, about heat ventilation, heat removal and extraction and convection and all sorts of things, but I want you to remember one thing. Honestly, you know, don't overthink it. There's been a little bit of hysteria about heat, there really has, but if you just look at your sports bike, if you've got a sports bike, remember the belly pan that around the exhaust is plastic already. The belly pan that was on this bike was molded soft plastic, and inside it, it had a soft, spongy, wadding, soundproofing stuff. So honestly, none of that burned, and as you probably know yourself, it isn't that difficult. You can put the back of your hand an inch from your exhaust when it's running. You'll feel the heat, but it won't burn you. And imagine even if you had a piece of metal that you'd heated up with a blowtorch till it's glowing red, 1300 degrees, till it's glowing red. If you hold it 6 inches from the back of your hand, it's not going to burn you. You'll feel the heat radiating off it, but it's not going to burn you. So honestly, however hot that exhaust gets, it's not going to burn this, it's not going to hurt it. This will get warm because it's metal and it's bolted to the engine. But when your sports bike with its plastic fairing on a warm day, when you're ticking over in traffic, put your hand down and feel the belly pan. It's red hot. That's what they get hot, but they can take it. And as again, spoke to my buddy Mac, the guy who's going to do the paint, and he said there is heat-proof lacquer, so we are going to paint this. We are going to airbrush it. We're going to, I'm not going to give anything away on this, but we're going to highlight these vents with some of the airbrush work as well. So we're really going to ramp these up. We're going to capitalize on the way that they look at the moment and make them even better, even cooler, even more exciting. So before any of that begins, I'm going to get involved in the bodywork. So today I just want to do some preparation work on this. I've got 2 days this week. This is Tuesday at the time of you, well, at the time of me recording. It'll be Wednesday tomorrow by the time you're watching this. I'm going to get going because, as you probably know, paint processes need drying time, so I'm going to be beset with that. I've got 4 different processes going to take place on this. There's the filler, there's the sealant, there's an undercoat, and then there's the top coat, and I've got to get them all on in the right order so that one doesn't interrupt the other. Also, that sealant, I want to seal all around these welds. If you take a little look, all these tack welds here, they need water proofing, absolutely, because this is just going to be like a big bucket. It's going to get lots of water inside it. I won't be able to get in there and dry it out, so ultimately they need proper sealing. I'm going to drill a little hole. You saw me just mark out there. I just marked out where it is. That's just a small hole. It's only going to be probably 1 inch. I'm going to bore that a little hole in there purely for one thing, just so I can look through and see the hollow level, because at the moment that is completely hiding the oil sight glass, and I want to be able to see it without taking the belly pan off. So I'm just going to bore a little hole in there. I don't think I need more than about an inch, and I've got that with one of the hole cutters, so I'll just pop a little hole in that. I'm going to put a little dimple. I'll show you that as we go along. So that's one thing. I'll do that first. That will be the last fabricative work on this, and then I can move on. Can start the processes. The first thing, wipe it all down with a panel wipe to get all the grease and all the manufacturing crap off it. Then start with some filler. I'm going to use some filler. It's not going to burn. I have checked it. It really is quite robust. So I'm going to put a little bit, tiny little bit of filler just to mould these edges, make them look a little bit better. Not too much. I don't want them to look like they're all part of it. I want, you know, you'll see where I'm going with it. And then on the inside, the panel sealant, that'll get 24 hours to dry. Tomorrow I'll come back and I'll paint the whole thing with loads and loads of layers of the heat-proof exhaust lacquer. So once that's done, I'll then have to leave it for about 48 hours to dry. So it's today, tomorrow. I've got 2 videos this week, you lucky people. You're getting one on Wednesday. I'll probably pop the other one on Thursday or Friday, so you'll see the whole process before the weekend. And at the weekend, we've got another prize draw coming up for you. We did the prize draw a little while ago with the helmet. We've got something rather fantastic prize draw coming this weekend. So let's get stuck into this. Enough waffle. You'll see what we're going to do. Welcome back to Delboy's Helmets. Quite a while since I gave you, since I showed a little tip, something you can use that will help you for this sort of thing. A little trick. This is quite fun. Now that's the hole that I've drilled there. That's just a 1-inch hole. That's just for the, just to look through, so you'll see the sight glass. I measured exactly where it was, as you saw, and that's roughly where it is. It doesn't need to be exact. It's just so I can sort of stick a tool through and I can see the oil level. That's fine. But I don't want to leave it like that. What I want to do, I want to dimple that in. Now normally what you might think to do is take a rounded end drift, which is that's a ground back kingpin. It's an old bus kingpin I've used for years, and you would put that into the hole so it's a dimple and beat it inwards, and you'll get a little lip around the edge as that takes the edges in. You support the back with a bigger tube, but there's actually a more civilized way to do it. I want to just show you what I've done loads of times in the past. It involves basically a socket that's a bit bigger than the hole, an old bar end weight which has got the nice rounded dimple on the end, some bolts and stuff, so you need some washers like that. Then you've got that then goes through the hole in the job. You then put the socket on the other side. You can then, with the thread and a socket, gently draw those together, and that will press gently. Because I don't have a hydraulic press, that will do the same thing. You'll tighten one against the other, that will press it in, and it should cut or push a little swage in, just gently. I don't want much. I don't want to crack this or split it. It's only 1 mil thick. I just want to stretch the edges in a little bit to give it a bit of a dimple so it looks a little bit finished, because I don't want to go welding lips around it and stuff. Done all that. Right, let's set the little rig up and I'll show you what I mean. I need some washers. go. Nice neat little hole. So there you are. Just a little process. You can do it with a press. If you're lucky enough to have a hydraulic press, you can do it with that. You get more control, but that works quite well. And it gives you a nice little sort of swaged in hole. And on the inside, as you can see, it's nice and solid. They also give rigidity, stiffness. They also give rigidity to things, which is useful if you're building some panels. If you go back to the old lake bed racer hot rods, they would drill holes in the sunscreen across the front for airflow, whatever, and to make them strong so that the panel wouldn't flop about. They'd always do that. Just swage the holes in, gives them a bit of strength. And you can buy machines for that. You can buy a hole flarer, you know, or a swager or whatever you call it. You can actually purchase them, but they're quite expensive and you have to have specific sizes, so you need loads of them if you want varied sizes. But I'll just chuck it on and I'll show you how it lines up. Right. I'm not going to bolt it all on because it's I want to start bodywork now. Right. So there we are. How's that? That gives you an idea. You can kind of see there. I don't know if you can see that. I'm not looking through the lens, but that's the oil light there, or the oil glass. Yeah, and I know the oil's dirty. So that's quite a nice little way to do it without any grief. And it's strong, doesn't add to its kind of flimsiness. Right, bodywork.
last two swings, the narcotics claim the wheel. Sits there and swings side to side. The road comes to free inside my mind. Waste away with
Right then, okay. It's 1 o'clock now, that's 4 hours. So what I've achieved so far. What I've done is put a lip, just a cunning lip, all the way around the edge, just using Bondo P38, Isopon, call it what you want. Different products are available in your country. So there we are, that gives me about, it's kind of a 3mm thin bead of filler to give the edge of the thing some depth. This filler is plastic panels, P38, so it's flexible, but this thing isn't so flexible anymore anyway, so that's not going to go anywhere, that's absolutely fine. And when it's sealed with paint, it doesn't absorb water or anything, it's completely tough. Any of you who've used body filler, you know what it's like. Even the thinner the better, to be quite honest. It's more likely to fall out if it's a big thick gob of it. It's only, the thickest it is probably in the back of here where the welds are, but it's in among the welds and they're acting like a frame inside, gripping it all, so it ain't gonna go anywhere. It's just to keep the shape, to give a nice roundness to the edge, but without welding steel around the edge. Welding a steel wire all the way around the edge would definitely have distorted this thing all over the place. I found that with the side cover plates. You could see on the speeded up footage, or I could see on the speeded up footage when I was editing it, that if I scanned across and did it about 64 times faster than normal, you could see that as I welded around the whole thing, it just distorted, and I don't want that happening. I mean, I've spent God knows how many hours on this thing, and the last thing I want to do now is trash it. So I've just put a very thin, you can sort of see what I mean, sort of there, just a thin lip all the way around. You probably see it better when it's in paint. What it'll do is it will give the thing a beefier look, a little bit of an appearance of thickness. I hope it doesn't make it look like plastic. We're going to deal with that with the paint job. I have been talking to Mackie, who's doing the paint, and we have got some cool ideas, especially for this, with these, to accentuate them more with some of the airbrush work. So there's loads and loads of fun stuff to come. Now, what I've got to do at this point, this is 4 hours in at this point, so I've just got to seal around these holes here. I'm going to blow all the dust out of this, give it a little panel wipe to get all the dust and the grease off and finger marks and stuff and all the welding residue. Once that's all off, I'm going to put that sealant around. That sealant takes 24 hours to dry. Then I'm going to just paint the whole thing over. Now I can't paint it until that stuff's dry, so that's another one of these typical situations where I'm stuck. I've just got to put the sealant on and call it done for today. That's all the filler I can do, mainly because I've run out of filler. I'm not going to buy any more, that's good enough. I'll put the paint over and that will give me a guide coat, tell me if it needs any more. I'll get a little pot of filler for the end once it's all done. There's loads of little imperfections on this bodywork, and when we come to do the proper artwork and the proper finished paint job for the complete custom bike, then all those little things will get dealt with. I'm just doing the worst for now. All these little pings and dings, little pinholes and dents, the more you look, the more you find, but I think I've got them all now. They're all pretty much done. I was going to fill around these. I was going to just put a skin of filler around those around the outside and blend them in, but I think I've decided not to because I've got a plan. I want them to remain looking like pipes. If you blend them in, they just look like they're pressed into the shape or moulded into the shape. I don't want this thing to look like it's made of fiberglass, not after all the hard work. Some of you have asked about the weight. This thing currently weighs 3 pounds, 1.5 kilos, would you believe? It really does. It's not heavy at all. It's only 1 mil steel. There's a tiny little bit of filler. Most of it's on the floor, in the bin and on the bench, and all over me. So honestly, it's not that heavy. And remember, I took 25 kilos off this bike. There was the whole fairing, the frame, everything's gone. So I'm not going to exceed the original weight, but I will give you a proper figure at the end. I'll weigh the 3 tanks, or the tail unit, this tank, and the nose cone tank. I'll weigh them all, along with anything else that gets put on, and I'll give us a proper figure at the end as to how much this bike weighs in comparison, roughly, to what it weighed when it rolled into the workshop. So right, clean this up, get the sealant around it, and that'll be it for today. Right, there we are. Okay, 2 videos for you this week. So as far as you're concerned, it'll be Wednesday and Thursday that they'll be up. So you know that because you're already watching Wednesdays, aren't you? Gets confusing when you do it in my head. Now, show you what we've done today. So that's the inside. That's the sealant all over the welds on that. Absolutely smothered and drowned. So the weather will never get to that inside there, and it's going to get paint over the top anyway, so they're completely sealed. That in the front, all that weld around the inside there is done. I put a lip around this, as you saw, just to give it some thickness. Didn't want to weld it. Honestly, welding a wire all the way around the edge just would have distorted this, because it was distorting the side panels when I was putting those original panels on. It made them twist. I had to twist them back, and I can't imagine damaging this now. I've put so much work into it. There is many hours in this. Something else is pretty cool. It's all this sealant and the tubes and these bits and whatnot have made it solid. Remember it used to ring dang dang? That's not just me holding it. Like. So now it doesn't ring. It's kind of solid and it doesn't really need much in the way of sound deadening. The paint will add that to it as well. It will add the effect. I may sort of, when it's done, probably put a little bit of this, maybe this stuff, I don't know, over there, if there's any areas, I don't know, whatever, but you know, you can think about it and keep thinking about it all day long. Done all the little dings, these little pinholes, little pings and imperfections, they're all done now. I need a guide coat really to do any more, so tomorrow is going to be another full steam ahead attack on this and try and get it done. It will be quick coat over the outside there to let dry. That will get sanded back as a guide coat just to make sure it's smooth, and then a nice thick 2 or 3 coats on the inside just to get that all protected, finally protected and ready to go. And then once that's done, turn it over. Once I've got it all completely dried off and sanded and everything's as good as it can be, I'll just put 6 wet coats on there, ready to go. Now I did make a little comment just recently that I might go satin black because then I can use heat-proof paint and so on. And a few of you cried in uproar and said, no, it's got to be painted with the rest of the bike, it's going to be a feature. Yes, it is. I've had a little bit of an ear flick from Mackie, the guy that's going to paint it for us, and said, honestly, he's got some plans for this. He's got some suggestions for this, this area with the pipes there, which I think absolutely blew me away. So we're definitely going to do that for sure, and that means that will definitely get painted. It definitely needs coloured paint. It needs heat-proof lacquer over the top of it. It's not going to get that hot. It truly isn't. It just isn't going to get that hot because your plastic fairing doesn't melt, does it? And it has foam on the inside of it. So really, it's not going to get that bad. What I'm going to use, just for the sake of it, is this, which is VHT paint, and it's matte silver as well. So that will match. It's the same product as the stuff that's up there. That's wheel silver, 5-wheel silver, and that's the VHT version of the same product. So chemically it's pretty much the same, which means when we come to put the airbrush paint and the lacquer on it, it should not react because they're not all different products. Think ahead. That'll go on tomorrow, and that'll make it look hopefully ready. You can just buy it on the bike, and that's it done. 2 videos this week, 24 hours for that to set. Then I can get finished on this, and on the weekend we've got another prize draw giveaway. Like I said, we've got something quite special. We're going to do 4 prize draw giveaways going up to Christmas, 1 every week, so there'll be lots and lots we can send out to you. Lots, not fantastic prizes, but just stuff we can send out for you for Christmas, something that you are definitely going to find useful. So we've got 4 prize draws coming up at the weekends and the next right up to Christmas, and it will start this Saturday with the next one. But for today we've got that done, and then tomorrow, which will be Thursday at the time you're watching, we'll get the next one done. And that'll be that ready to bolt up. I can move on to the tail then. Anyway, that's good enough. I'm going to call it done. Take it easy, ride safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.